This video is part of the Great Unboxing!
Hello everyone, and welcome to this unboxing video for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Change is Constant. Yay? So, there's a reason there's a hesitant yay to this one. Specifically this part of the Kickstarter that it is of, which is the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles board game by IDW, is kind of a re-release of the first one, but not. So, for those of whom that have seen my channel since the very beginning, there's, the other miniatures game right there, which was the first video on my channel. This is almost the same exact game, and it was kind of annoying how they did it, because even though technically you could use the older version without issue, almost everything is the same. There are some newer things in this, for one, and for another, you wouldn't get any of the stretch goals unless you backed the version of the Kickstarter that came with this. So it was great for people who weren't in on the first Kickstarter, but for people who did the first Kickstarter, it was kind of eh. And part of the reason, my guess, is it's the Adventures Universal game system, which fits with the Batman the Animated Series miniatures game, as well as anything else that they feel like doing. And they all pretty much play the same way as the old Turtles game. But one other big thing that they add is a full co-op mode. And I know a lot of people that would prefer playing games like this in full co-op, even though I do prefer the one versus all kind of thing, because it feels like a light version of a D&D game. Or any other tabletop role-playing. Regardless, let's get inside this. For those that don't know, this, just like the old version, is primarily based on the current version of the comics, and not the current version of the TV show or the previous one. Thankfully, especially the current one. Oh god, I hate the new art style so much. Even though it does say Nickelodeon on it. I believe it does make references here and there. I know it makes references to other versions of the Turtles, but it is primarily based on the current version of the comics, which so far is amazing, even though I've not been able to keep up with it anymore. From what I remember, though, it was just amazing. It was, hey, this is aimed towards the people who liked either the old comics and or the old television show. I mean, the first version of either, but grew up because it's over 30 years later. Alright, so to begin with, we've got 3 books. All with the same cover, but they are 3 entirely different things. I believe this one is... okay, it was about the size of a comic book, so I wanted to make sure. This is the actual rule book, and it looks like they already advertised a future expansion that, if I'm correct, I don't have. I did get the entire Kickstarter, because, again, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, big fan of. But yes, this is the rulebook. And then these look like the adventure books. This already also looks like much better quality than the first one. That was a big complaint about the first one, that a lot of people thought the quality wasn't as good, especially the miniatures, and that was the main reason I didn't argue against getting this version, beyond the fact that I got a lot more than just this, is the quality of the miniatures, while I found okay, is much better in this one. I found the quality of the miniatures in the previous one okay. But yeah, like, it's similar layouts and everything to the previous game. But still very story-based, follows the story of the early points of the comics. And we've got a tray of miniatures. I'll get to that later. Let's get everything else out of the way first. A bunch of cardboard punch-outs, because that's a lot of this game. Where does this even open, if anywhere? Oh, okay, here it is. Yeah, even the art quality looks a lot better on the things. So we've got some health, which is all pizza, and bad pizza on the other side. This isn't necessary for people who got the Kickstarter, because there is actual health wheels. That will be in the stretch goal video, by the way. Some tokens. We've got KO on one side. I'm assuming Turtle Eye on the other. These are the same on the other side, but then we've got Visual that's more like Knocking Out. Then we've got some other tokens. These are actually what the dice facings look like, so I'm assuming they are temporary stat bonuses and stuff like that. We've got some Sneak, some what look like Assault. These are actually Terrain, Spawn. They're red on one side, green on the other, and then these are the same as the others, except just different icons, some of which just being double of what's on the other side. Then we got some more terrain, including garbage, some doors. These look like objective tokens because they are the same on one side, but clearly specific on the other. Some more terrain, including cameras. These are the same on both sides. Manhole covers, which are also the same on both sides. Explosion, smoke. Some more terrain. And the last one being more terrain with some deuter and whatever this rock is. Then we got the thing for various summary sheets is my guess, because I wanted to say cooperative mode, which is the first one, but it looks like the one on the back. It means it's not just that. Oop, that one's stuck pretty good. Ooh. There we go. Cooperative mode. It's two of the same ones. These also have things for layout, and it's competitive mode on the other side. Because, yeah, this game, I think, plays up to 6 with the City Fall expansion. General terms and icon guides, as well as terrain and color guide, because the image on the terrain isn't as important as the color outlining it, but 2 of these as well. So, summary sheets. Again, always welcome. And we've got a tray with more stuff in it in the bottom, plus the actual tiles themselves you play the game on. These are not punch-outs or anything. These are just tiles. These are not the same. They're actually very different layouts. And the terrain border colors come into play even more. So we've got the street level, sewer level, more sewer, another street, but looks more like a back alley, inside an office, in a garden or a front yard, which technically could be both. Looks like inside a jewelry shop, and this looks more like a garden. So, New York streets. I say New York because of the, what implies subway turnstile. And just a street. Some subway. I think a rooftop. Office or kitchen. And then what looks like more sewer. These look a lot better. They look more towards something you would see in the art style of the current comics, while a lot of the stuff from the previous things look like they were from older things. All right, then we got some base covers for, I'm guessing, the player characters to help you discern which ones they are. Bunch of extra empty bags, again, always appreciated. Round tracker, it has good guy, bad guy on one side, on either side. I think this was exactly the same in the previous one. Then we got main stat sheets. This is where both the major enemies and the characters are. We got Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, who functions entirely different in this game compared to everybody else, Michelangelo, and Casey Jones for characters that are playable. Oh, it's got actually everybody now. We might have had everybody before, but we've got Thug Brawlers, Thug Gunners, Old Hob, a character that was introduced very early on in this version of the comics, Mousers, Mega Mouser, which I think is also new to this version. This version of the game. Baxter Stockman, still in human form. Foot Ninja, Alopex, who is a very interesting character in the comics. And then all those same enemies, I'm guessing one of these is meant for verse AI versus verse enemy. And they are definitely different. I just can't entirely tell how. Their numbers for sorting are different for sure. And this is mostly the same kind of stuff that came in the core game. And we got a bunch of dice, the really important part of this game. Like, really important. Dice are extremely important in this game. Cards help and everything, but dice are far more important. Almost every character, although now that I look at it, it might actually be every character, has 3 dice that are unique to them. In fact, the character layout on the card has all 6 of the dice facings for their unique dice. The reason I said Raphael was different was he would get 5 of his dice, and he wouldn't get to take part in the major mechanic, which is you would roll your 3 dice, and then after any number of rerolls or things like that, you'd pick which order they are, left, right, and middle, and you'd get the outermost die to your person's left and your person's right, as they would also get your outermost die, respectively. So you get 5 dice results, but you only have 3 dice. Yes, this is a game where you are sitting matters. And there was, and probably still is, a card that effectively is summarized as change places. So we've got Raphael's dice, Leonardo's dice, Michelangelo's, Donatello's, and I'm guessing these are Casey Jones's, as well as I believe these are the enemy dice. Either that or they're generic dice and the enemies just go straight to this anyway, and then you go based off other stuff. But I think this is the enemy dice, which was a mechanic that existed beforehand. You also got automatic facings based on cards that you played. So on top of that, I remember that the ones on the enemies, which they get a list of them on the bottom, function differently, but I don't really remember. I only did get to play the game once. It was actually a lot of fun, but it was definitely, we have to sit here and take it lightheartedly, not munchkin this and, really dive into the mechanics like we would with most games, because it is kind of, balanced for children, but at the same point in time, it's good. It's still a good game. It's not like most games meant for kids where it's dumbed down entirely. It's just the entry level is minimum and the cap is not that high up. But like I said, all the characters get their own unique cards. I believe you can, you get a hand of them and then you play them as you want as bonuses. They almost all have effects on them as well as extra dice, but it's just all over the place with what kind of things they can do. Leonardo, for example, has 8 cards, and I'm guessing each of the others do. He's the one who had the change places card, which literally was get up and change your seating. Where the enemy player didn't matter, but it was relative to everybody else. Also, in the case of Raphael, you just skipped him for who was left and right. You was just the next person over, and he just had his 5 dice. He was selfish. But then we got some Donatello cards. Raphael, who only has 6. Michelangelo only has 7. I didn't actually count Donatello's. Casey Jones, who I believe was originally a standalone expansion character. It's nice that they put some variety in the core game, so you're not just stuck with the 4. And that was assuming you got the base game, not the Works Edition, which came with a lot more. And then we get right into enemy cards, which is just all over the place. I think the way it worked is you built a deck as the enemy player, and you activate things when you play appropriate cards to them. Like this one even says, times 2 red thugs. So there's 2 more packs of cards. Where is the pull tab? And again, I always appreciate pull tabs over vacuum sealed cards. Although I think I would just prefer these coming in a box. Bunch more enemy cards, which is probably what most of it is. But that was the brawler and gang ones. Then we got a bunch for old Hobbs. And yeah, the fact that he is a one-eyed cat is actually really important in the story, like why he's missing that eye. Then we've got the normal Mousers, who have a lot of cards. But yeah, Swarm effects. They're fun. Mega Mouser kind of changes the way I look. No. Doesn't have nearly as many, but he's just one big guy. Then we got some for Baxter Stockman, who's all technology. They made him far less of a bumbling idiot since the days of the 80s cartoon. But at the same point in time, he just can never get a break. I think he was actually far more competent in the in the CGI cartoon. And I have no clue about the current version. I literally have not watched an episode. Every video of it that I've seen just hurts. And he's got two more. Bunch of foot ninjas. And little white fox lady. I can't pronounce her name right most of the time, so I don't try. And a regroup card. And then we got some ally cards. Many of these were playable characters or usable enemies within the expansions and works version, but we've got Angel Bridge, April O'Neil, who is a scientist in this version, not a reporter. Splinter, Woody Dirtkins, which, if I'm correct, is the one guy at the pizza place that gets along with Michelangelo, because this isn't a version where they're able to show themselves. Harold, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. He's basically Donnie's friend slash science rival. And we've got Shredder, Arnold Jones, aka Casey Jones's father, and in this version, Hutton. And Baxter Stockman. These might be... Nope, these say two different things for competitive and cooperative. There are... I don't know if there's miniatures for them, actually. I would assume at least for Baxter Stockman. Then we've got some... I don't know, actually. These, since they have the adventure thing on them, I'm guessing these are actually cards for the adventure mode, aka the let's mix whatever we want together. Like, you'll be able to play these alongside the Batman, the animated series miniatures. But it's all the same characters that have the larger cards. Alright, so that's everything that's in the box, minus the miniatures, which I'm about to get to. Just want to clear that, hey, that was everything. And there's still a decent amount of miniatures in here, including a lot of Mousers. Tape. Come on, companies, really, why do you bother? If your thing is packaged correctly, this shouldn't be a necessity. It is a waste of materials and just an annoyance. Okay, it's stuck for other reasons, too, because there was only 2 pieces of tape, and when there's 2, or the last one in general, it's just easier to take the lid off and then it. So, there are 30 Mousers. They all look almost the same. They've got what looks like 2 different poses to them. More, hi, I'm just here looking around, and yelly, screamy thing. And we got the Mega Mouser. It's basically just 3 giant Mousers crammed together, sort of. Slash that thing from one of the RoboCop movies. And we've got 5 Gunner Thugs holding their pistols all stupidly. 5 Brawlers. 10 Foot Ninjas, all with katanas. Baxter Stockman, who honestly still looks really iffy. Like, I would not be able to tell that's Baxter Stockman. I would just think that's generic evil scientist at best. It looks honestly a lot like generic angry corporate dude. Hobbs, who is, again, actually a very important character in the series, or at least the current version. Leonardo. Because again, especially with the turtles, the details did get a lot better. Donatello. The Fox Girl. Michelangelo. Who is just all action pose. Like a lot of kinetic energy in that. Angry, aka normal Raphael. And also kind of angry, but why he gets along with him, Casey Jones, who's probably actually one of the better looking miniatures in here. The tray is actually really nice. There's all custom fit spaces for them and everything. So I feel less like things are getting broken or bent, even though some of it already was. And also it is a little annoying that it means it has to be put back a very specific way. But otherwise it's very, very nice. Like, even the two different Mauser types have their own spots. There might actually be three now that I look at it. Yes, there is a third. The tray here is actually very nice. Everything is got a, will fit in correctly. It is formed to fit it. Like, the least formed one is the Mega Mauser because it just stands in there. It's the only one that's in there upright. Even the Mausers, which I'm now realizing there's actually a third sculpt, have specific spots for each type of sculpt. So things will bend very little. It'll be very nice to be able to put stuff back in here. Although some things are already bent, but that's mainly like swords, stabs, things like that. Thin, long things. But that's everything this time around. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to press that like button. If you think somebody else will enjoy this video, feel free to share this video. Either way, you'll help this video get seen more. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and press that dislike button. I won't mind, but please leave a constructive comment as to why. Also, feel free to comment in general, such as, would you like to see me do anything else with this? Such as a overview, detailed overview, painting any of these miniatures sooner rather than later, which won't be anytime soon unless somebody requests something. How to play, or anything else along those lines. Feel free to ask, or just talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in general, regardless of which version, including why do I heavily dislike the current version. If you'd like to see anything else like this, be it more unboxing videos, my board game overviews, my painting videos, and anything else I might do on my channel, feel free to subscribe. Regardless, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.